Brooks.
Here.
Building Commissioner Pound. Sewer Olson.
Here.
And wastewater plant Stacy.
Okay, minutes from the previous meeting. Did everybody get a chance to read over and review the minutes from the previous meeting? Were there any corrections? Okay, so do I have a motion to accept the minutes from the previous meeting as read? Do we have a motion, Alexander? Do we have a second? Second, Purtle.
Councilmember Ayers. Councilmember Brown.
Go.
Councilmember Martindale.
Aye.
Councilmember Alexander. Councilmember Purtle.
Aye.
All ayes.
Are there any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda? Does anybody have a particular cause they want to discuss? Okay. All right, so we'll move into new and old business. Let me see the department report first.
I know.
We kind of switched it up here a little bit. As far as new and old business, looking over the minutes from last month, we had kind of discussed briefly about a tree ordinance. I was wondering if anybody had a chance to research that over the past month, or have any questions on that. Basically what the tree ordinance is, after talking with the sewer department, we talked about a lot of the causes to our sewer issues here in the city are due to trees. Would you say that was pretty good? Of course, it's not all the issues. I mean, we've got a lot of issues. And I've heard some pros and cons from some of the folks that I talked to, because not every street has a sewer out in front of its house. So why should you penalize a property owner wanting to put a tree out next to their home if their sewer's out in the alley? This is a council issue. It's an ordinance. I didn't know if you guys had any questions or wanted to discuss this. And Chris, you might just kind of elaborate on what you've seen when you've gone out, because you're the one that's on the scene doing it.
Yeah, the biggest problem is number one, it's when they plant them between the sidewalk and the curb, it's not only just the sewers, it's your sidewalks, it's, it does damage to a lot of things but mainly it's the sewers, and it causes a lot of problems. So, I'm not telling somebody, they can't put one in their yard, but they just can't plant them. And eventually they grow out over the street. It causes the semis that come into town, the, people that park along the curbs. We've got a lot of parking, and so it causes a lot of issues.
And a lot of the older trees, looks like over the years, have been torn down. Some of them still have a root system. This is something that people would be grandfathered in. The city's not going to go out and tell somebody that's got a tree out there for the past 100 years they have. But if there is any new development, if there is any new properties, maybe possibly property transfer. We talked about ordinances for check valves. This is the time of year that we're running into a lot of issues, and I know the Board of Public Works is getting a lot of phone calls on sewer issues. This is just something that I wanted to at least address and get your guys' thoughts on this, because we've got to really start taking the sewer system very serious, and we're trying to make the right steps to move in the right direction with the proper equipment, but we also need residents to do their part and the city to do their part as well. So I didn't know if you guys had, I know a couple of you missed last meeting, so you might not have been aware that we just kind of briefly mentioned it last time, and it's not something that we have to take action on tonight, but if we could kind of get with, I can contact Indiana cities and towns to get copies of ordinances from other cities of what they do, but does anybody have any questions?
And part of the sidewalk ordinances that we already have in place might cover anything new, because they really couldn't restrict the sidewalk. So I think that's one avenue. We might really already have something in place to help.
So we can start searching now, and about 6 weeks later we can find a copy of that ordinance.
We have that pretty recent, so we should be able
Okay,
to.
so we do that.
We should.
Is this tree ordinance, though, wasn't it gonna be like a tree ordinance plus the check valve thing for
Well, it would be two separate ordinances. Both those ordinances would go towards protecting the
the sewer.
residents, and it's not like you're gonna go in and tell a resident that they have to put in a check valve. We highly recommend that the resident puts in a check valve, because, Mother Nature, and it's uncontrolled. You don't know if you're gonna get a lot of snow, get a lot of rain. And we all know it, it's an old exhausted system. So if you sell the property, some cities have an ordinance where when you exchange properties to another owner that needs to have a check valve, if there's any new construction, like when you get a building permit, things like that, you know, is that something that the city wants to adopt? I think it would be a wise decision to adopt that in while you develop a new property to make sure you do have a check valve. Steve?
Question I got, sell your property, who would be responsible for the check valve? The property seller or the property buyer?
That's a decision you guys would pretty much,
Negotiate.
negotiate between the two.
What's the
Is-
cost for a check valve?
Approximately $1,200.
So it's not,
Oh, it's not
Cheap,
cheap.
it is.
But buying a house isn't cheap either. I mean, you know, it's part of it. But down the road, it's going to save somebody with a basement, and that's it. Now, if somebody's got a crawl space, I wouldn't recommend that. I'd say anybody that has a basement would need to put in and install a check valve. But somebody that's just got a crawl space and a regular sewer, you're not going to have any problems with it. But a basement, most definitely.
Chris, with that new vac truck that you got, that's gonna be a lot more powerful than what you're used to
Right.
dealing with. And I've heard from other cities that sometimes when you go out and you unclog a line, you blow toilets out of homes because of the pressure
You
that's
can.
built up.
Yeah.
So I'm just suggesting a check valve all over.
Get off the pot when they get
And when we got this truck, it happened a couple of times, but that's part of the operator. You got to know how much pressure to put in there and a safe. You're not going to blow somebody off a toilet. But ask Bruce Stanley. Because we remodeled his bathroom and everything else when they first got that truck. So,
Well, just something to think about as far as having a check valve to stop that.
oh yeah.
You know, like I said, it's another thing that you don't have to make a decision on. It's something I did want to bring to our attention because, you know, we've got to start these long-term plans and put these things in place to really to address these.
how many residents would this affect? Do you have any idea yet?
Well, I know years ago, a lot of residents did put check valves in, especially down in the west end of town.
They're slowly doing it, yeah. I mean, you know, over the years, yeah, several have put them in. So we're decreasing in
Majority do
Then
not
any
have.
problem with
majority
check
of the
valve
homes
time
does
to
or
time?
Not.
Any problem with check valves from time to time?
well, they're so simple now that the common homeowner can go out, pull them up, check them every year, make sure they're functioning right. But yeah, they're pretty simple to do now. And I don't know what the actual charge is. I know it decreased a lot now because now it's just a standpipe that goes down in and that check valve goes down in there. Used to they had to put a big tub and it cost you $3,000 or $4,000, but anymore it's a lot cheaper.
Can those go down your clean out pipe?
Yeah, basically that's what it is. Normally what they'll do is they'll put the check valve in the center and then they'll put a clean out that sweeps out this way and a clean out that sweeps out towards city sewer. So it solves a lot of problems.
Any other questions? So, I mean, that's just, like I said, that's something to look at. You know, IACT has all that information. Like I said, we can research some of what the other cities have done and give you copies of ordinances as far as what they do with their trees on roads that do have sewers under the road and also the check valves. So, like I said, our sewer system is one of our top issues. Okay, item number 2, spring cleanup. I talked with Street Superintendent Waymeyer about doing another city spring cleaning. We're talking possibly end of April, beginning of May, you know, weather permitting. And, you know, this is something the city tries to do at least once a year. Ideally, we like to try to do this twice a year, maybe one in the spring, one in the fall. Last year, we did one pretty much in the middle of summer, but if we can try to do these as much as possible. I'd also have checked with several companies that have even come in and talked about actually going out into the neighborhoods instead of having them bring all their trash and junk and garbage and whatever down to the city garage, making it taking it a step further, making it even easier for them to actually go out into each precinct. Have a designated area in precinct 1, have a designated area in precinct 2, precinct 3, precinct 4, and if the council would like to, they would like to help organize some of those, making sure that there is staff and making sure there are volunteers. Maybe each councilman would like to represent their district. I mean, it's just an idea to throw out there. The spring cleanup, while I think a lot of residents like it, there's a lot of different ways to look at this. Over the past few weeks, I've been taking some pretty in-depth tours of the city of Sullivan. And it's kind of like your kids growing up. You don't really realize that they've grown up until you look at a picture from 5 years ago, and then you see they've changed. And sometimes when you step back and you drive through the streets and drive through some of the alleys around here, I guess you don't see really some of the decay. Central School is a prime example. We talked about that big white elephant. But and I understand, we do. There are just some properties that are going to be the way they are, but we're starting to see a lot more and more of just clutter, and a lot more just basically just downright junk. And these are opportunities for us to go out, and when they say that they can't get rid of it or they can't afford to get rid of it, when we're bringing the dumpster and setting it out in front of your house, we're trying to assist and we're trying to be a good partner with residents. And it's sad that we have to do this with some. But starting in the next couple of weeks, there are going to be letters going out to several households. And how we've selected these households is, for the most part, these are houses that have been habitual offenders, if you will. These aren't people that we just drove around this morning and said, we're going to go nail this house, we're going to go nail that house. These are folks that have been contacted several times, have made empty promises to the city. I'm looking for the email. And I can kind of give you an example letter. And basically it just states, look, we've given several times, we're going to offer another cleanup. But at the same time, now this is your 4th, 5th, 6th notice over a 3, 4, 5, 6 year period. And we're serious. You're going to have 45 days to clean up your property. And at the end of those 45 days, if you don't clean up that property, we'll send a crew out to do that. And then there will be a tax lien put on their property. So this is nothing different than any other city, any other community. These are things that the city's tried to do in the past. Nobody's getting picked on. Nobody's being singled out. However, some of these problem properties, we're just asking, look, try to move some of that stuff and keep it covered up. And it all goes back into our comprehensive master plan with our steering committee of our niche for Sullivan. Where are we going to go? Where are we moving towards? And let's face it, we're not going to be an economic powerhouse, but we can increase the quality of life for the current residents and make our city more attractive for residents to come. So just want to let you guys know, if you get calls from constituents in your areas, that letters are going to be going out, and a lot of them are going to get their final notices to start cleaning up some of the properties. And the spring cleanup will coincide with that and give them a chance to do that. So does anybody have any questions on the letter that's going out, on the spring cleanup? Thoughts?
I have a question. Out of the letters that are being sent, how many of the letters are actual people that own the house, or are they rental houses?
They're both.
Both.
They're a mix.
I mean, 'cause there's some of the rental houses, those people don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care.
Yeah. And there's also a few that are owned by banks. We try to send a certified, for example, we sent a certified letter to a bank last week. The letter came back, the bank's not there. It was down in Texas, and it's just like, this is unbelievable. I mean, we can't even get a hold of this bank. But you're right, that pride and ownership thing, if they don't own it.
And then all those people want to do is move somebody else in there and move next people out.
I mean, it's definitely a problem that we've had for years. It's a problem that every city, I went down to Evansville last Friday to the Southern Indiana Mayor's Roundtable, and Mayor Winnicky from Evansville and Joe Gilcom at Vincent's. We all sit here and have these same discussions with each other. And like we said, with our partnership with the school corporation, if we can't change a mindset, and we're not always going to be able to change a mindset of some of the current residents, That's what I think is so important about the police department, going to these schools, the fire department, the mayor, council folks, if you get a chance to go up there and really start meeting with our students and partnering with the schools, because if we can't change a mindset, we'll plant a seed. You know, we'll plant a seed now, and you can start to change this over a 10 and 15 and 20 year period. But Scott, I totally agree. Like I've always said, if you can overcome apathy, the rest will take care of itself.
So do you actually have a date set up for it? Does Chris or you actually have a date set up?
Not 100%.
Not 100%.
We'll announce it by the next council meeting, and
Okay.
it'll be advertised in the paper and hopefully on the radio, but, you know, and I know a lot of, you know, we call upon churches too, because I know a lot of churches like to do spring cleanups. There's plenty of people that are willing to come help. The Core 40 group will come out to your home, they'll help you. I know the Christian church last year, they did a project last April. I mean, they're gonna help you. We're gonna put a dumpster out in front of your home if we possibly can. You know, we're giving every single opportunity to please, take some pride. I'm not gonna say the citywide. Okay, sewer mapping. Item number 3, and this is something else also that I know has been brought up 5, 6, 7 years ago, but it's something that I want to revisit, and that's knowing exactly where our city sewers are. Chris Olson, one of the things that makes him a valuable employee, he does understand where a lot of the sewers and where a lot of the systems are. But it seems like over the years we've had Harold Neal told Mick Wright, and Mick Wright told Chris, and so-and-so told so-and-so, and yeah, I'm pretty sure the sewer's here, and I'm pretty sure the sewer's there. But with the technology of today, with GPS, GIS, or whatever it's called, with all the digital mapping, I think it's really something that the city really needs to look into. We found out an issue just a couple weeks ago over on Cross Street. We were 100% sure that sewer ran from a section all the way west. And found out it came around the corner and started going down Cross Street.
Didn't know there was sewer in there because it wasn't on our maps. And there was a second sewer laying along the curb. So we cambered it, and it ended up, we couldn't even find the lateral to that resident's house, but we found everybody else's going into the center of the road. Why they would have run that, who knows, but we got it resolved.
Yeah. And that's just one example. I mean, how many times over the years have we possibly...
Getting more and more.
And I know we've had a few cases south of town where we found abandoned lines, where people were possibly still hooked into an abandoned line, with stormwater and things like that. So knowing exactly where we're at, I believe is a top priority. So that's something that we need to be looking forward to. Anybody have any questions on the digital sewer mapping?
Cost.
I was just ready to say, how much does it cost? I don't know. Those are things that, I'm not sure what do you know what the reports were several years ago when, you guys have looked into doing some digital.
What?
Cost.
That's a good question. I mean, absolutely. But, okay, and then item number 4. I guess officially we're proud to announce our partnership with Rose-Hulman Institute of Technology. Big thank you to Pete Wilson from the Sullivan Daily Times for, we've been mentioning partnering with our universities and our colleges in the area, whether it be Vincennes, Ivy Tech, ISU, but to get Rose-Hulman, we got the cream of the crop. A lot of, obviously they're very well known for their engineering department, and this morning I had my first conference call. I had submitted on behalf of the city, I had submitted an application to join their, basically it was a parks program, it was a engineering design program that they were seeking different projects throughout the Terre Haute area and extension of the Wabash Valley a little bit, of different things that their freshman engineering class could come in and do. So we submitted an application, and I stayed in contact with Mr. Aidoo, A-I-D-O-O, I believe is his name. He's a professor up there, and sent him several clips from the news media on the importance of our central school, what we were trying to accomplish long term, and happy to say that the students at Rose-Hulman this morning, when I was on the phone with them, they were really, really excited about the opportunity to partner with the city of Sullivan, and we welcome them to come down. Actually, I'm going to Rose-Hulman tomorrow morning at 11:30 to meet with them face to face to start to discuss some of the ideas that we want to pursue here at the Central Park. And obviously, and they're also gonna have some folks that are gonna join our steering committee for our long-term master plan, which will be addressing Central School and Central property. So I think that's awesome. I think it's great. Anytime we can utilize engineering at no cost to the taxpayers.
My brother is Rose Home alumni. He has mechanical engineering degree and professional engineering degree, which he can sign off on drawings as legal documents. He stated here a few weeks ago that he'd be interested in doing like free consulting with the city if you guys ever need anything like that too.
Yeah, the majority of your cities have a city engineer.
Yeah,
So you want to do part-time work?
he probably would. I mean,
This is
you know,
just sewer mapping.
Yeah. Can you write a tree ordinance?
Can you write
Um,
Wait a
but
minute, that's
no.
Angela's job, come on.
That's great. Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely utilize it. You know, like we've said many times before, some serve as reserve officers, some volunteer firefighters, some serve on boards, and any chance that
Okay.
we can have somebody with that background experience, yeah, time to get a hold of him.
alright.
And I'll let him know when Rose Holman, they're either gonna try to come down this Sunday, St. Patrick's Day, or the next Sunday. They're gonna actually come down on location. They told me that that they gave me a wide window of chances to meet with them. Wednesday at 11:30, when all the kids from the class can actually, or the students can come together and meet. So, but on Sundays they can't. They're gonna come down and do a walkthrough of the actual site.
Did you mention to them about our cemetery needs laid out, surveyed out there?
While they're down here, trust me, we'll
Yeah, all right.
we'll squeeze it every drop of,
All the money there.
yeah, of engineering we can out of them. So, really excited, and they're really excited too to be able to partner with the city. So, any questions on that? Okay, as far as department reports, police department, Assistant Chief Garrett.
Alright, during February, we answered 16 accident reports, or calls, 24 domestic battery calls. We had a total of 220 calls of service. Some other numbers Jesse wanted me to give you guys was that over February, we answered calls in the annex area 31 times. That's not the calls that went to the county, that's calls we had to assist with as well.
How many?
31. Over the course between 2011 and 2012, we had 503 total calls to service out in the annex area. Also wanted to advise you guys that Nick Hatfield left the police department and he does a job down at the Carlisle prison now. Spencer Brooks has got his hire date back from Perf, which is going to be March 28th. So he'll be coming on, and then he goes to the academy April 1st. Thomas Clements has accepted a conditional offer of employment. I believe he went this past Friday for his perf testing. So we're waiting to hear back from perf to get a hire date for him and get him started with us. Okay, I believe that's all I have for today.
All right, thank you, sir. Fire Chief,
For the month of February, we had 77 calls, 48 of those calls were ambulance calls. The rest of them were fire and EMS, or fire and rescue. Also, we had a guy come down and do our service work on our rescue tools and fire unit. And we did find some things wrong with our fire unit, so we had to take it in and get it fixed. So it's probably gonna cost around $1,200 to get that taken care of. Rescue Tech is gonna take care of the warranty for the parts. We just have to pay for the part or the labor, and we had a bad hose, and that's gonna cost $700 for a hose. So in with that, $1,200 is the cost of the hose and the labor. We should be getting it back here the next week or so, get that taken care of. And then also, we did applications for our hiring for Jared Purtle's position. We got them back at the end of the month. We got 4 people that have applied, and I got scheduled for this Friday at 10 o'clock to do their testing, written and physical agility. And I think our next board work meeting will do our possibly do the hiring.
Yeah, we're gonna try to do a special session, Board of Public Works, through the month of March, and then make a decision at the April. First, the first meeting of the April Board of Works meeting, make the decision to do the hire,
And that's all I got.
so. Street Department Superintendent Wayne.
For the month of February, the guys have been out picking up brush, cleaning fronts of the storm drains. They put some gravel in a couple of the alleys. We've been out patching potholes, weather permitting on that. On the 19th of February, me and Tim Bowles went to road funding day. It was a little different. There's about 13 things on road funding on the agenda. If one of them passed, it would help. On the 5th and 6th of this month, I went to a road school. It was very interesting. I learned a lot. Good PR for City of Sullivan, I think, to go to these things and kind of get to other counties and cities and different places, see what they're doing. Same problems we have. That's about all I have.
And Buchanan Collins.
Just trying to make it short and sweet. Pretty busy last month, down to just one vehicle left in shop. We got to put brake pads and rotors on a police car, and then Rob's got a list of things I'll probably try to get started on next week, just preventative maintenance things on some of the trucks. One thing I did want to let the council know, I told the Board of Works about it last week. Last summer, we had an AARP guy working for the street department, and he's allowed to work 6 months per department. So he wanted to come back down to the city, but they wouldn't let him come to the street department, so they titled him as a helper in maintenance. But he could fill in whenever Chris needs him, or he knows a lot of our yards we've mowed. He did a lot, the mowing the empty lots this summer, so I think that's kind of an asset to the city. And it's at no expense of the city. The AERP actually pays his wage. And he works, it was 18 hours a week. She sent me an email yesterday, up his hours to 20 hours a week. So we should have him for about another 4.5 months.
And as far as the mechanic and street department, I did get confirmation we did get the salt spreader fixed, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
They-
sir.
yeah.
Yes,
I know.
shared a keyway off one of the
I think
sprockets.
Brandon took it out.
During one of our last inclement weather
Yeah,
days, I know that
yeah.
it went down on this and we were doing the
We
rest.
actually had two that one went down on him, and the other one, the mixture had been in the box for a couple weeks and it just froze up, so it's kind of a bad morning, but
Yeah,
we got it taken care of.
when you find out, right, whenever you need
Yeah,
it.
everybody's the last minute.
Okay, Parks Department.
I don't have anything.
Okay, cemetery. Correct.
Well, we had a fairly busy month. We took in $500 on payment on spaces, sold $2,400 in graves, had a $10 donation, had one cremation for $300, 3 funerals, $2,000. So we took in $5,210. We had a tree down. We got it cleaned up. Had big limb down. A car took out some of our fence. We lost 7 sections of fence up there. And had a water leak, got it fixed, just did some painting and cleaning up.
Did we ever figure out who it was?
No,
No.
no idea. It was, but they were moving pretty good because they scattered it a little bit.
On Johnson or Washington?
On Johnson.
See, I moved. I don't go down Johnson anymore.
Your name is mentioned.
Yeah.
And they might have come left at your car.
Were they going east or west?
Wasn't, yeah, wasn't mine. How do I take that?
I think they was going west the way they bent stuff over.
Trying to get out of town.
Yeah.
Okay, sewer department, Mr. Ross.
Things are
Have you
kind
been
of,
on Johnson Street lately?
I have not. Not at night late. But anyway, but things have slowed down some now, so we're been working on some digs, and one thing I've had going on is Lakeside West. We had a pump that was sent off before the city took the collections back over. Found out it's just totally burnt up and can't be rebuilt. So I'm looking into doing a upgrade to what it would cost us to go ahead and do a upgrade, not a major upgrade, but something, maybe new pumps, new control panel, to upgrade that lift station, because that other pump, I know it's at least 14 years old, because we bought it shortly after I started with the city. So they're all getting, and it's been rebuilt twice, which it still could, but I'm gonna have to replace the one fairly soon. So that's something that I'm looking at, but I don't know that people understand that we put a lot of money into these lift stations outside of city limits. Probably over the last 3 years, we put $300,000 to $400,000 into lift stations and repairs outside the city limits. So that takes away from, our city time, money, keeping these lift stations going. The city itself doesn't really need lift stations. So, and we keep on building more lift stations outside the city. So that's something that we need to look into, is maybe how to try to cut costs somehow on these lift stations, and what we can do there to cut the cost. But
Anything else from sewer?
that's all I have.
Any questions for sewer?
I have one.
Uh-huh.
Don't the people that live outside the city pay more in sewer fees?
Very little, not much more. I mean, not, but that's a lot of money.
By pump, but
Right, they pay a little bit more. And I think, don't they pay a surcharge? Or,
They started paying a surcharge in November.
yeah, I mean, it had not
That was
been,
implemented in '96.
right, had not been taken care of or something, but hadn't been collected. So that would have helped to maintain some of this equipment.
Any other questions? Okay. Any citizens present to address the council? Everybody should come see how we were doing? Appreciate that. Okay. Any council comments? I haven't heard any feedback on this precinct thing yet. Anybody
You gotta
interested?
get me some dates, cause my dates are booked. April.
But I mean, is that something you guys would, would you be interested in, or, would you wanna do a cleanup down at the garage, or try to bring them to their neighborhoods, or? Something to think about.
Where would you do it at in the neighborhood?
Side of the road?
You mean tell them to pick their stuff up by the road and we'll pick it up?
No, we take dumpsters to the
But then
neighborhood.
have to pay to dump it in the dumpsters.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like $10 per truckload. They have a truckload of stuff they put in, it'd be about $10. For a small truck, I think we did $15 for a big truck last time.
The street department does have a swap letter truck that has it's not a real big bed, but it's a bed that you can actually set off the truck and leave there too, or, I know when Chris was superintendent, they used to use it for the corn festival for the trash.
how could you collect the money?
You have somebody working out there.
Oh,
But hasn't it worked out in the past okay with what you've done? I
$10, $15 thing, yeah.
well,
yeah,
It's just been at the garage.
Right.
Fewer and fewer people have been utilizing.
Yeah. Used to, we'd have real bang up house, so to speak.
well, when we didn't charge and when it was only $5.
Right.
Said it was free, everybody be there.
Right, exactly.
You
But you
think
had-
so?
That first year.
Oh,
The
yeah.
problem we have is,
I wasn't even wondering about that sometimes.
the problem we have, we've got people coming out of town, but the people that live in town are kind of taking stuff in from people that lives out of town. We have that problem.
Well,
I know.
were checking IDs, weren't we last
I
time?
know, but they're getting stuff from out of town and bringing it in.
The person that lives in town is bringing it down.
For other people that lives out of town, so that's, I
Yeah,
don't know
when-
how you can prove that.
When we did it before, well, I think Georgia was there. I mean, yeah, we had a lot of that. They were coming in from everywhere in these humongous mounds of trash
Oh,
and
yeah, there's no,
and
Tires.
tires, we'd see them coming into town, truckloads of them, and, well, the police had to track some of them down
Take
and,
tires out, do we? No.
no, well, we did back then, we
Yeah,
don't now.
We don't know.
Mr. Pitts.
If you put dumpsters in the neighborhoods, you're probably gonna end up with a lot of stuff you don't want of a night.
It would be that day.
Yeah, but you wouldn't get the dumpster moved that day.
We might be able to.
You're probably not gonna get the dumpster moved that day.
We might. We're in discussions right now with some folks that
But if they're
want
there
help us
overnight,
put it on and.
if they're there overnight, you're gonna get a lot
Sure,
of stuff
I
that
agree.
you don't want.
Okay, any other, council comments?
I followed up, went and talked to ADM, he's out there, super open to some ideas, and he has some of the same thoughts I did, and was talking about the Gray Street situation. Truck coming out, he's not real happy about it either. And he has agreed, I gotta find out what the agreement was on that road, when they shut that crossing down, what it was that the elevator agreed to take care of, what we had left. But as far as he's concerned, if we can come up with a way to do it, blocking off part of the road, shutting it down from his property, you know, where they are, the trucks can't come out that way.
They're tearing up Beach Street too.
huh?
They're tearing up Beach Street up
Yeah.
right beside the church. Our sign's starting to the street sign's starting to lean a little bit because they keep cutting and the ground's going.
I went as far as talking to see if they would be interested in participating in a situation where they would run that road along the, whatever it is that runs north and south there through their property, extending it on down to where it would join with Wolf Street. Now, I don't know how, you know, we're talking a little longer project and stuff down the road, you know, some time doing it. He was wanted to come and meet with some council people about introducing that idea himself. And, he was real receptive to it. That would be the main truck route. You'd have one truck route, they come in, go out the same way,
Turn through their gravel parking lot, turn around,
and then go on out.
north on Holloway to a new road, Wolf left and back up.
So I'm composing a letter, he wanted me to compose a letter to him, you know, wanting to get into discussions about this. And I told him the problem we've always had, every time we get somebody in there, we get the communication going, and they transfer them out, you know? But again, starting again, doing communication, and then he wants to take it to corporate office to show that the city would be, you know, interested in getting a better designated truck route set up. And he said it would create a better situation for his customers, and he has some that said they won't come in because of the way they have to go through. This way would be great for them, and he would gain business from it also. So, we do have something going there, and I wanna get BJ's street where she's at taken care of, and get them out of her yard, her son's yard, and we need to do some patchwork there.
We was up there and Pat,
And fix that up and make that a little better deal for that situation in that neighborhood also. So we just need to get, I think I gotta get with Chris, and we can take a little ride out there and see what might.
I'm trying to think of the properties through there.
Isn't that our property? Isn't that Hanfordsville property?
Goes all the way to the railroad
Goes to
track.
the tracks.
Cause when they were talking about that overpass a couple years back, they go right over there.
Wolf Street.
Right.
And Broad
I'm trying to
Street.
think. No, at the dead end of Holloway. Is that where the city property starts? Or
No.
is there another parcel in between?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, you have to, that's where that street comes out is, where Kellum's owns,
Yeah.
and it goes down and turns. But the street that would actually, you would have to go from there at the edge of that and cut it across to our property. I mean, we have right of way all the way through there because what is that street there? Right there between Kellum's and where Busan lives there. That little street there. No, Olive's the next one down, Bloom. But it would have to somehow come into Bloom Street and go on over through our property over to Wolf.
They said they would take the road north.
Yeah, right.
That'd be-
And that would be,
Then what we would be involved.
you know, if
More expensive, we wouldn't be involved.
we
How
could
far
get
north
a,
would they take it, Jack?
To Wolf,
So they would put the road in, that
they'll
would
run
tie
north.
into Wolf?
Yeah, well, we gotta bring Wolf Street over to the railroad.
There's an alley back there, isn't there?
Okay, I was thinking, man.
no,
that's a
no alley there.
Yeah.
That Bloom Street goes back and dead ends.
Right.
It dead ends back there where Orr lives at the end of it.
Yeah, but I mean, back behind the other road. The one right next to the tracks goes back. There's an alley back there.
They've got their service road that they run their trucks up and down their pickups.
Right.
To service the.
Oh, yeah, that's there, that's railroad right away.
Yeah, just, and
Yeah.
go up through there.
But it would obviously help them, like you were saying, I never even thought about that, bringing new business from trucks that don't wanna come in because they don't know how to get out there, or there's no easy way to get out there. But, you know, I know there's been some concerns from folks that are worried about the maintenance of our city streets, and we're well aware that there are issues with our city streets, but, unlike some areas, they don't have to fight with grain trucks, and they don't have to fight with big trucks coming through their neighborhoods and making turns, because our regular cars and trucks aren't really necessarily the ones that are always tearing those up. So
No.
when somebody compares West Washington Street to an area elsewhere, there is no comparison. You can't compare. They don't take on that traffic. They don't take on those trucks. So it helps alleviate that problem on our city streets, and it also helps the grain bin.
Well, Wolf Street's getting tore up there where you stop at Main, and I'm sure it's the cold, or the grain trucks
Yeah.
stopping
that
and
stop
they're
sign?
buckling up
Mhm.
the
Yep.
blacktop and stuff there by the ditch.
Well, I think it
Probably
was
get
tore
rid of
up a
that
few years
four-way
back
stop.
and it was patched. Right through there before the stop sign was ever.
Yeah,
put in.
but we probably have to take that four-way out and just make it so they can just
Back
keep
to
on
two-way.
going, because they're stopping at that, and you can see it's buckling, when they're stopping, it looks like they're buckling at that,
Kind of wash water, not going in.
yeah.
That was brought up a few years ago, nothing ever happened out of it.
Oh, we talk all the time.
Well, opening back up that
No, yeah,
intersection.
we're opening up the intersection and taking that stop sign out.
School bus pointed out there, I don't know.
I think the sad part is you got a homeowner that's proud of their homes. And it's not our fault that the farmers have bought bigger equipment. I understand what they're doing is because it's more economical to take bigger loads in and stuff, but our streets are always, there's just so much that we can do to a street to make it wider or whatever. But we got homeowners that are proud of their homes and they want them to look good, but yet when these guys come out and they make turns off of roads that aren't even truck routes, they're up in their front yards. I would
It's
be
torn up
very
so bad
upset.
along the front of our property,
Yeah.
that when it rains,
Well,
it's
it
like a
holds,
mud bog out
it
there.
holds so much
It is.
water
We
there.
take a lot
Yeah.
of
We don't
Maybe
have
they're
a
out
fence
on
on it,
it.
but we spend a lot of time taking care of it and taking care of the
Yeah,
yard.
so I just think that,
Really,
we need to look at some alternatives there. The guys bringing in grain, they need to think about a little bit about the homeowner in town. And, you know, we got a designated route, they need to stay on it. And until we come up with this alternative, you know, that's what they need to do.
So you're saying we have a designated route today?
As far as I know, it's up Broad, the ones that are coming in off of Wolf, up Broad Street to the
To the
Christian
beach.
Church.
From the beach over to Holloway,
Yeah,
So then, if,
and then back out.
then
This
why
will
don't
keep
we
them off beach,
give them a
Rod.
ticket if they're not today? I mean, to solve her problem.
quit bringing
bringing grain.
But if they got a designated route, I mean,
I'm
I'm just asking the question, I didn't say.
yeah,
Enforcing
Right.
the
Yeah,
ordinance.
just
on
ask
the-
the question.
2 or 3
I
policemen.
guess you could block that road off.
Well, I just asked the question about the ordinance.
I'm just, that's their property anyways, they take care of all that, so.
So I just need to find out what the agreement was. I can't find anybody.
Yeah, I wanna see
really
exactly
that's
that that
going
is
back
the
to-
designated route, and see what the ordinance number is, and
That's
that they
what I'm-
can, if they do decide to decide.
But anyway, I did meet with the guy, and he's very open. In fact, he told me about an ordinance that there's a town in Illinois has, about the trucks being tarped, empty and loaded, coming in and out of city limits
Because of the debris. that
because of
flies
the
over.
dust that blows out. He was kind of upset about the fact that he was on Section Street walking, he lives here in town. He was walking and saw all this debris along the street. And he said, man, you guys need to know about this ordinance. So he gave me some information.
I think what's been disappointing to us is that they put in all this new equipment and they assured us it's gonna quiet everything down. And we knew it was there when we bought the place. I figure there's people who own farms and have the same thing practically sitting in their backyard. But whatever they've done to it, Debbie, you know, you're over there, it is so loud and we have it for months. To sit out on our deck,
Dryer,
in the
probably.
backyard
Yeah,
is
with the dryers.
absolutely terrible to try to sit out there and talk.
Has
And
the
then when
dust
that
situation
stuff starts
changed?
flying, we called them over there when you could take a
Well, I've been
Where it
there.
looks like it's
roller,
snowing.
and you literally could put it on my banister, anything like that. You couldn't be outside breathing that in.
Oh, so there's residents out there that have contacted me that have COPD and things
Well,
like that.
we never let the kids out when we were younger. We never let the kids out when it was like that because, well, they would have been sick.
See, now, last year I was out there and addressed it with them,
Yeah.
and, they were gonna be doing something to that piece that goes out, some kind of a filter system or something's gonna go on, so has it gotten any better since they've got that pile out there now? Okay.
The noise is just, it has gotten so much worse. We've been there since '95. And it's really been in the last 5-6 years, it's just really gotten bad.
Yeah,
You know, it's like we're out there on
Who regulates that? What level of government regulates that debris?
I-
Because I've had people contact us, and, I mean, is that IDEM, is
They
that
have air permits.
EPA, is that the state, is that?
I would think it'd be your
Board of
state,
Health, Board of Health.
EPA or whatever.
Good.
I mean, it seems worse
That's
than,
right.
worse than what we
Place to start.
Well, they should have the air
river
permits
net,
and that should be monitored if they don't.
yeah, but the whole, whatever's coming off the corner, I mean,
If I
it's
was
worse than
to
the
combine all
river.
the together,
That's where you started.
it's just like, with the trucks and the noise and.
We're trying to compete with Paoli. We're gonna have it snowing out there, once you build a hill.
Well, see,
Talk about a niche for the
look,
city.
BJ, you can have,
Come to
Well,
Sullivan.
you can make money by having
Come to
I
Sullivan,
ski
ski down to the
and mud
green,
bugs,
green
mud
hills.
dogs.
There you go, nobody's got it.
Anyway, this kid
Mud-
seems
mud
real
bugs.
My
progressive.
retirement plan.
There you go.
You know, he's interested in being a good neighbor and things like that, so we got to start out there anyway, and I'll continue to work with him.
Are you doing
But,
it
no, get it. Thank you.
Appreciate you looking into that, that'd be ideal. Any other, council or citizen comment?
I'll make the motion.
Okay. We don't even need a second on this.
Well, I figured he was the one that would do it, that's why I went and wrote it down. Yep.
That'll be long gone now.
I'm gonna go there tomorrow and find out if it is this Sunday.
I'm out of here.